Who's not coming down the track? Who's not coming down the track? It's a mean she in red light. Ain't nothing finer in the land. Just look at my she's straight there. Come on.
What's up, y'all? This is John back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. Today, I am joined by Red Raiders News from Instagram to talk about Texas Tech for the Orange Bowl in the New Year's Day hangover spot. But before we get into it, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Appreciate y'all having me on the podcast.
Awesome. We are looking forward to it. Texas Tech is a team that I feel like nationally not a lot of people know about. So very interested to get into it here. And going back to the preseason, Texas Tech was a little slept on to start the year. Some people had them as a dark horse pick to win the Big 12, but even in our top 25 poll, they were the first team out. They were technically 26th, but they were this year's big portal winner and NIL spender. So, who was the best money spent on this offseason?
Well, that's a hard question. I'd probably say one of the D linemen. That could be Lee Hunter, the defensive tackle, or David Bailey, the edge player. So Lee Hunter came in fall portal, or I guess you could say technically like summer fall portal, came in the beginning of the year. Um, and he's from UCF, but he played at Auburn, so he had that experience. Or you could do David Bailey, who came into Stanford mid-year, spring. Like he got to the school maybe 4 months before football season started. And that was just like basically a went in when his coach got fired and it was just a lucky get. That's definitely the defensive side. I'm a cornerback guy, I'm a defensive back person. I think Bryce Pollock has been amazing for Tech this year, transfer from Mississippi State. I think he has 5 picks, been a great cover guy. The one guy he's really got beat by is Jordan Tyson, who's a first round, maybe top 5 pick this year. So nothing, no shame in that. Offensive wise, probably say probably say Terrence Carter. He's been really good, underrated, been hurt some this year. Super good tight end. I mean, he really opens up the offense for Tech, really. I would say Quentin Joyner, but we never got to see him play. See tore his ACL beginning of the year. But I'd say either David Bailey, Lee Hunter, or Terrence Carter Jr.
There's been an emphasis on the portal spending, but some of the best players are homegrown guys, specifically Baron Morton and Cameron Dickey. But with Baron Morton, what does he mean for this team and potentially the future when it comes to quarterback recruiting?
Well, Barron was a 4-star. He stayed at Tech when he got offers from many other programs. So he's a Red Raider homegrown, I guess you could say. Um, when he's out there, the offense just runs so much more smooth. I remember the Utah game when Will Hammond came in about second half and won the Tech game for us. So it was like, oh, Will Hammond's going to be the next. He's the next starter. We should start over Barron. And I was like, let's slow the roll here. Barron's just an integral piece. Everybody loves him. He's been here. He's a fifth-year senior. When he's out there, he is running the offense. I mean, of course, you got the offensive coordinator calling the plays and all that, but he will check. He'll do all this, and you could see it in the Kansas game when he went down and Will Hammond came in. The game was just stopped. We couldn't really throw the ball. Had to run the ball a lot, which granted Kansas wasn't very good at stopping. But you see in the Arizona State game, Will Hammond really didn't get his feet underneath him until the fourth quarter. And at that time, it was just a little too late. But yeah, Barron just brings steady, consistent play. I mean, he's gonna make the right read. He's gonna get down when he has to. He's gonna throw to the right person. He's gonna check to the right play. If he sees there's too many people in the box, he's gonna check from a run, throw a quick out or something. Not enough people in the box, he's gonna check to, or he's gonna check to a run and get to the yards. I'm excited to see him how he plays against Oregon. Obviously, the best defense they've seen this year, but I think he'll really show up. He showed up really good in the BYU game.
Yeah, and getting into this game a little bit, Oregon hasn't really faced very many elite quarterbacks this year. The ones they have played, have done pretty well against them. Obviously Fernando Mendoza went down and had a game-winning drive, and then USC's Jaden Mayava had a pretty good game, statistically at least. So, what are you expecting out of Barron for this game?
Well, I think Texas Tech is better than USC, so I don't think Bear needs to, do it all, which I don't think he's had to do all the season. I just think he needs to be steady. Gets the ball to the right person. If it's not open, I mean, you don't want to take a sack, obviously, but take the sack. Don't throw the pick. Don't fumble. Um, but the thing I think about this game, I think it's they're going to pass the ball to open up the run. Oregon's defense against the run is, well, we'll just say stout. They stopped that run pretty well, and Tech wants to run the ball. But I think this game, just because of the athletes Oregon has, it's gonna be a lot of quick passes to open up that uh deep passing game. So I think they're gonna pass the ball a lot the opening drive to get the run started. Because I love Cam Dickey, I love Jacoby Williams. They need space. You're not gonna get space against this Oregon D line if you just say, I'm just gonna run straight down their throat. It's just not gonna work. Um, but I think Barron will do good. I think Reggie Virgil will be very good for Barron. And I just think Barron's more of a pocket passer. He'll get out. He'll run around, try to be that dual threat quarterback. Not who he is. He hasn't broken no fractured fibulas anyway. So I just think he's going to stay in the pocket, make good reads, smart reads. I just think he's going to get the ball to the right guys. What he's been doing all year is what he's been doing for the past 3 years, really.
And getting into the running game, Cameron Dickey, like I was talking about, he's been great this year. Helped me get second place in our college fantasy league, so I appreciate him for that. But Oregon is statistically the best rushing defense they've played this year. So, how much emphasis do you think is going to be put on getting the run game going early?
Well, I think I already answered this question earlier, but I mean, I think they're going to pass the ball to get the ball to the run. But I think the way Texas Tech runs the football is kind of different than other people. They almost every run they have a pulling guard in some sort of way. So this could, traps or something, RPOs. They're a heavy RPO team. So I think it'll be heavy RPOs. I think you'll see the key is probably the first half, say the first quarter. If Tech can get those trap runs, RPO runs to work, then I think Tech will be very successful. Cameron Dickey is that ground and pound, but he has some speed to him too. I think if they could get the inside trap runs and then have those two pulling guards to the right or left for the outside runs for Jacoby to get his explosive 60-yard runs, and I think they'll do very good. I think the really big key is running in the red zone. Tech has not been a very good red zone team this year. That could be to Bear Morton being a pocket quarterback. They've had some miscues. I've seen them drop. The first game against BYU, they dropped 2 touchdowns um, in the red zone. So yeah, I think the key is the trap and pulling guard runs, and the key is the RPO game. I think if they could do that, I think if they can execute their runs in the red zone, they'll be able to pass the red zone, say fades the corner, crossing routes. I think they'll be able to really keep Oregon off balance. And you're not gonna have a 300-yard game against Oregon. It's just not gonna happen. It's Oregon's built like Georgia, Bama. You're not gonna run against them like that. SEC fronts basically. So you just gotta. It's more of if you get 150 yards, control it, but able to still run. Sometimes say to get a first down and be able to pass the ball. I think that'll be a very good, successful way to win the game.
So the offensive line has struggled a little bit at times to protect the quarterback, allowing 23 sacks and 69 tackles for loss on the season. And ironically, Oregon's about matching those numbers with 25 sacks and 73 tackles for loss. So how concerned are you about that matchup?
I'm concerned. I'll say that. I think the most concern on the tackles. Right tackle, he's Jacob Pond, redshirt freshman. He has a lot of upside, but he wants to usually he jumps off side sometimes, has some holding calls. And again, granted, he's still a freshman, he's still learning. The other side is the UNC transfer, Howard Sampson, and his pass pro could be a little suspect sometimes. Great run blocker. You watch his tape, and you're like, geez, this kid can block for the run. Passing is just a little, you still got to work, which is, good thing it's college football. You still got to work. I think at Tech. And I think Mac hasn't done it much this year because he doesn't need to certain way. I think Tech might have to bring in tight ends to either chip or stay in the blocking game and then release to the flat. Because Oregon's D line is no joke. They will get after the passer. I think the way Tech will alleviate this or not allow this to happen is they'll be having RPO games. They'll be quick game. But I think Tech needs to take shots. I think Tech the first drive needs to like throw short, then boom, throw it deep to Reggie. You know, Reggie Virgil. Sorry, the wide receiver to get the corners off you, so you can then run the short game. So then you can alleviate the pass game. Because if you're running short game, hurrying up as well, maybe running outside runs, you're gonna get those D tackles tired. If you don't allow them to substitute in, they'll soon just get well. They're not really a factor to you anymore. They're so tired. Your offensive line's used to this because you run hurry up and they can basically hold the pocket. I also think Baron Morton having a fractured tibia or fibula, not tibia, sorry, and not really being that dual threat you know of, say as Dante Moore or who else in this Jordan Tier, who's out of the playoffs now, but dual threat uh, is is kind of sometimes a factor. He's also I love Baron. Sometimes makes mistakes, which everyone's gonna do. He's not, perfect. So I just think if you a short passing game, throw it, control the line of scrimmage in the run game, maybe hurry up a lot. Don't allow them to substitute their players in. You'll be able to control the line of scrimmage. Therefore, you'll be able to alleviate the rush.
You kind of talked about the passing game already, so we'll go ahead and move it over to the defensive side of the ball. They've been just absolutely elite this year, and specifically the front seven being sixth in sacks, fourth in tackles for loss, first in the country in rushing defense. So, is there something that Oregon does that scares you for this front seven?
Not particularly for the first seven, though. I mean, Oregon's running game stout. I watched them against Indiana. Sure, Indiana had some success, but I think Oregon ran pretty well. Watched them against JMU. Now, granted, it's JMU, so we'll take that with a grain of salt. Ran all over them. Didn't matter. Um, I'm not really scared for his tech T line. I mean, Lee Hunter's played the SEC before. He's just a big grown man, 300 pounds. I mean, he's got to get there anyway. David Bailey's run defense could be a little suspect. Granted, he's just a rushing to passer specialist. Romello Heights run defense, really good. And then we won't have Skylar get Howard back, but Antonio Holmes came with Shield Wood from Houston. Great run defender. And I think the D line opens up for John Mateer, not John Mateer, I'm sorry, John Curry, Ben Roberts, and Jacob Rodriguez to be so good. Again, those rush lanes to stop them. I think, and you hear this from Tech, from their coaches, their players. You have to earn a right to rush the passer. I think as Tech, they did against BYU, they're going to earn a right to rush the passer. I think there might be more stacked boxes just because Oregon has such a big O line, such a good running back game and running scheme that I think Jacob Rodriguez might have a little tougher job. But I think Lee Hunter, Romello Height, those guys will control the line of scrimmage. It's just will the linebackers and the corner safeties, defensive backs, be able to tackle in space, which I love. I like Jacob and I like Ben. Sometimes I've seen that has a problem this year, but I have faith in them to be able to do it. So I guess to answer your question is I don't really not really scared of a D-line suspect. I think if Tech gets beat, it'll get beat from the passing game from Oregon.
Moving right over into it, if there is a weak spot on the defense, it's the passing defense. Still, although ranked 25th in passing defense, Oregon will be the best passing attack that they've faced this year by about 30 yards per game. Um, is there anything about the Oregon passing attack and specifically their explosiveness that is a concern?
Oh yeah, I mean I think Evan Stewart's coming back. I don't care if he hasn't played all season. That kid's a playmaker. My dad's an A&M fan. I know I might get killed for Raider fans, but watched him when he was at A&M. For having such a bad system with Jimbo and Haynes, God, he was good. He is explosive. And then if you add that with their other wide receivers who didn't have to do that much against JMU, because granted, I love JMU just wasn't up to the par. I mean, it's gonna be I think Bryce Pollock on one side of the field, because you can only guard one side. I think he's gonna not have it on locks, but control it. What I'm scared of is Amir Boyd and or Mo Horn or Darion Grant or Dante Balfour. I like them. I just don't know if they're able to cover 101. So I don't think Texans will play a lot of man. I think they're going to play a lot of zone, maybe some zone blitzes, bring a linebacker. just to keep. I think they're going to try to keep Oregon in front of them because Tech's red zone defense this year has been stout, been very good. And when it's red zone, it's two different games between the 20s and the 20s, or 20 red zone, I guess. And if you can keep them from scoring touchdowns and kicking field goals, you'll have a better chance of winning the game. I think I saw Oregon fans discourse on Twitter that if they can attack Brendan Jordan, they'll win the game because Brendan got a safety got exposed against ASU by two double moves. Granted, they had Sam Levitt who backed up 20 yards, threw the ball, and he's just a great player. I think that's kind of a mistake. I think Brendan Jordan's gotten better if you watch film on him, and I think he's just a good player. Brendan Jordan is a run first box safety, but I think he's pretty good coverage. But back to the passing game, I don't think they're gonna run man. They will run man sometimes, but I love Big 12. I love Tech. This is not the Big 12. They got different kind of athletes out there in Oregon. And unfortunately, Tech's non-con this year just didn't really do justice in that. They played Oregon State. I guess the best Big 12 team they played passing wise was Utah, I would say. And they really aren't that stout passing. Maybe, oh, Arizona State, Blake, my mind. So Arizona State and Jordan Tyson, when they ran man, Jordan torched them with a hurt hamstring at all. So I guess to answer your question, it's their explosiveness, really. Evan Stewart, Mr. Kenyon Sadiq, to talk about him, probably like the best tight end going to go in the draft this year. If he stays, it'd be amazing. I just think I think you got to keep it in front of it. If you keep in front of it, limit the explosive plays, make them drive the field on you, where they have to get to the red zone, where they have to have, execute plays, execute the run game, execute these short passing game. I think you'll have a better chance of beating them and limiting their offense.
So, big picture, what are you most concerned about for this game?
Uh, Text time off. If you look over Joey McGuire's time at Tex, that's 4 years. I don't count the bowl games because bowl games, people opt in, opt out, all that. After a bye game, I think Tech is maybe 1-3, 0-4. Remember last year we came off a bye, played Baylor, got curb stomped. Now, granted, Baylor turned out to be a good team, but we couldn't stop them, we couldn't score. So I guess that's like my one thing I'm a little scared about. But I also hoping that Joey, after 4 years of this, it's kind of, gotten to it. Like our bye week this year, we played. I forgot who we played, but we won that game. I think it's 1-3, and we dominated. So I hope that Jacob Rodriguez, the senior leaders, senior core with Joey can help get the team ready because Oregon's no joke. If you I don't want to say dilly or screw around, but if you screw around in the first quarter and you're like, oh, now I'm here to play in the second, you're already at a disadvantage. You got to come out hot. You got to come out playing with like your tails on fire to keep with Oregon because Oregon's a good team. I think Oregon's a dark horse for the national contender. I think if Oregon beat Tech and we'll say Bama beats Indiana, I think Oregon go to the national championship. So you just gotta I would say live in the moment. Live in the moment. Don't think about the past. Think about the future. It's the game right now, and just be prepared for it. Which I think Joey and his staff will have the team ready for.
And then what are you most confident in for this game?
Uh, and this probably really isn't football. More of like a test thing. I think Tech's gonna have a chip on their shoulder. The last 2 weeks, you've heard podcasts like you, not you, of course, say, "Oh, well, Tech hasn't faced this, so they're going to lose. Oregon's going to wipe the floor, 3 scores. Oregon's defense going to stop Tech in their tracks." And for the past 2 weeks, I don't know if Tech could do it. Big 12, they never seen the big boys. Kind of had an easy schedule. They lost to Arizona State. I think Joey does a really good job of getting his guys ready and showing him this stuff. But if we're gonna go to the football side, probably say Tech's passing game. Granted, I forgot his name 'cause I'm blanking because I guess my mind didn't come prepared. But Oregon has a freshman quarter who is absolutely elite.
Mhm.
I mean, he is the best corner in the Big Ten. He's gonna probably guard Reggie, and I love Reggie. He's probably gonna lock him down a little bit. I think Reggie will still get catches, but elite. I think if Tech can get Terrence Carter involved Coy Eakin. Coy Eakin's a stud, always under radar. And Caleb Douglas get those two cat buster plays, down the field, big plays. I think Tech's pass game can really be an edge for them. Defense wise, their defensive line, of course. David Bailey, if they can stop the run, earn the right to rush the passer, you've got to deal with David Bailey and Romelo Height, two high level first round red edge guys. So I think that's their advantages.
All right, and the last thing, we're going to ask you to pick some games. We're going to give you the spread and the over/under, but we're just asking for a straight up pick. Starting with Miami and Ohio State. Ohio State 9.5 point favorite. Over/under 42.5.
I picked A&M to beat Miami, so that little sting. Marcel Reed did lost me some money, man. What a loser. But I'd
I'm
probably
in the same
say,
boat. I had A&M
yeah,
over Miami big.
I'd probably say Ohio State, just because I watched Indiana, and their passing game was non-existent. And not granted, A&M had amazing corners. Will Lee, the blanket, Des Ricks, Julian Humphrey. They're all really good. But I just think Ohio State has the same defense, if better. And Miami couldn't throw the ball. I mean, when they ran it, A&M had a run defense flaw the entire year. I think Ohio State's not going to let that happen. So I think Ohio State, probably by 10. What's the over under 42? Probably put less than 42, probably like 32 or something.
All right, we got Alabama and Indiana. Indiana 6.5 point favorite. Over/under 48.5.
Tough one. I love Indiana. I don't think Fernando should have won, although who else are you going to give it to? But I think Fernando's a great quarterback, though. I just think Indiana beat Ohio State, and that was their defense wise. And Ohio State plays offense different than Alabama. The thing that's going to be key is the offense and defensive line against Bama and Indiana. Bama's not going to run the ball. They don't run the ball anyway. They're not going to probably try. They're gonna sling that thing around the yard. We're gonna live and die by the pass, and I think that's good for Indiana in a sense that the D line really doesn't have to worry about the run. It's gonna be like, screw it, we're just gonna rush the passer. But bad because Indiana's passing game, they don't have the athletes that Alabama would have, which is fine. They got D'Angelo Paul, probably one of the best quarters in the country. But who's on the opposite side?
Mm-hmm.
And I would say Ryan Williams. So Ryan Williams, can he catch the ball? Can he actually catch the ball against teams this year? He didn't do it against Bama, didn't do it against Georgia the first time they met. They didn't do it the entire year, really. And they could, if Ryan Williams could catch the ball, that's a wide receiver out there, basically taking up space. And all you have to do is guard Jeremiah Bernard, or however you say his name.
Jeremy
Jeremy Bernard and the safety, or not the safety, the freshman who went off against Bama, forgot his name, but
Horton.
yeah, and Horton, yeah, and just gotta look at the gimmicks. I'm gonna pick Indiana by 3. Over under is probably pick 48, just because Indiana's gonna have to score. I think Indiana, if they control the clock when they run the football or pass on offense, I think to be able to win this game. Although it wouldn't surprise me, Bama came in and won.
And we got the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss versus Georgia. Georgia 6.5 point favorite. Over/under 56.5.
Georgia, they were close last time. In Georgia, they lost by 2 touchdowns, but they were ahead in the fourth, if I'm correct, or
Uh,
something like that.
Georgia started the fourth quarter down and won by 8, I think it was.
So
Yeah, I
still a
think they
fourth
won
quarter
by 8.
comeback. Yeah, I just don't know if Ole Miss can do it this time. I mean, granted, they almost did it in Georgia. They don't have Lane, which I don't care what you tell me. Lane was half calling the plays anyway. You know he was doing it. He's stubborn. You know he wouldn't give that up. So they have Troy Weiss, but they still don't have Lane. It's Kirby. I don't bet against Kirby. It's like I never bet against him to lose to Bama 2 years in a row. Kirby's going to make the adjustments. Kirby's going to have his team ready. Kirby's going to know what they're going to do. I just think Gunnar Stockton in the running game is going to do a good job of, I mean, basically just owning the game. Although, as a Georgia podcast, it would surprise me if Ole Miss won. Trey Chambliss is a baller, man. Came in this year, balled out. Kyron Lacey, I think that's how you say his name. No, that's the
T1.
LSU guy. T. T1 Lacey, stud running back. So Georgia had their handful, but they stifled Bama. I think they'll stifle Ole Miss too. Oh, the over. I'll probably take the under.
And the last game was Oregon, Texas Tech, the one you're going to. Oregon, 2.5 point favorite, over under 52.5.
I think the over under is correct. I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I'm picking Tech just because of my homer side. And I would say I understand people picking Oregon. You know, the what's it? You know, the Big Ten playing against those Big Ten opponents. But I just have a feeling that Tech. You know, the thing with Tech is with Tech's the underdog, they always play better. So I'm happy why they're the underdog in this. You know, a chip on their shoulder. Uh, I just think Tech's gonna be able to do it. That's my homer side probably. Probably my homer side. Just take no. I think it's gonna be the closest game of the weekend. I think it's probably gonna be like last 2 minutes with a chance to go to overtime. And I think a play, not take. I think a play like you know, Kawhi gave 60 yards on the field, or Evan Stewart cat buster play is really gonna decide the game. Granted, running the ball and all that too, but I think turnovers should talk about. Barrett has to protect the ball. Barrett has had a problem. If they protect the ball, no turnovers, I don't want to fumble anything. Think Tech has a really good chance. Think Tech has a really good chance to go to the Peach Bowl.
Awesome. We appreciate you coming on. Learned a lot today. And tell the listeners where they can find your stuff.
So I used to run Texas Tech Barstool until tr- no politics, probably Charlie Third thing happened, and I left because I didn't agree with what they were doing. So I run a Instagram page called Red Raiders News Now. Just search for the Red Raiders dash news now. You'll find it. I've been doing that for about 4 years, trying to get experience for my career in social media. I post almost every day, graphics, things talking about tech. I also have a TikTok. Don't run very as regular. Kind of stopped that when I got to college. Called Red Raider Visuals on there. I just posted a video maybe a week ago. So there's that. But that's really all can find me. I appreciate y'all for having me on. It's an honor.
Yeah, man, we appreciate it. Learned a lot. And we'll talk to you next time.
Thank you so much.